Thank you very much. I would like to read the following, which is entitled, "Trump is here and he's not an alien." Since 2010, simultaneous to the 130,000 deaths that were caused by austerity, the 1,000 richest people in Britain, as wealth that is possessed by them all put together, went from being 256 billion pounds to 724 billion pounds. Trump is here and he's not an alien. Donald Trump is not morally beneath being celebrated by our ruling elite. He is the physical embodiment of the logic which underpins them. They are him and he is them. Donald Trump is here and he's not an alien. His misogyny is here. In a society where women are paid 18% less than men, in a society where, according to Gary Young in The Guardian, 1,400 women in England and Wales a day are sexually assaulted, Donald Trump is here and he's not an alien. Islamophobe, but he's here and he's not an alien. In a country where roughly 3 Muslims are attacked daily, where the Schedule 7 Terrorism Act has stopped and detained roughly 500,000 people since it was initiated, 80% of those people have been ethnic minorities, despite the fact that ethnic minorities are only 13% of this population. In fact, if you're a Pakistani man, you are 54 times more likely to be stopped under the Schedule 7 Terrorism Act. Our government gives 116 million pounds worth of your money to spy on children who are racialized as Muslims in schools as young as 3. Donald Trump is here and he's not an alien. When we talk about his servility to the banking system, to the way in which he gives tax cuts to the very richest, how can we forget that President Obama himself gave $12.8 trillion of the public purse to Wall Street? Donald Trump is here among us and he's not an alien. We look at his servility to the fossil fuel companies, to the way in which he seems to fetishize coal. Well, why doesn't he get down there in the mines himself and pick that coal out of the ground? Globally, $5 trillion worth of subsidies are given to the fossil fuel industry. That is $13.7 billion a day. That is $158,000 per second. The biggest subsidizers of the fossil fuel industry are the United States government, to the tune of $700 billion per year, and that's according to the IMF. But Donald Trump is here and he's not an alien. How can we forget that this country creates 5% of the world's carbon emissions, despite the fact it only makes up 0.8% of the world's population? In our capital city, 9,500 people die every year because of pollution. Donald Trump embodies corporate irresponsibility, but he is here and he is not an alien. Donald Trump hates refugees. He calls them animals and separates babies from their families and cages them at the border. But he's here and he's not an alien. 34,000 people have died trying to get into Europe across the last 3 to 4 decades. And since January, 500 have died in the Mediterranean alone. He's here and he's not an alien. He doesn't like black people and he calls Haiti a shithole country. Even in June 2007, he said 15,000 recent immigrants from Haiti, in fact, all had AIDS, and that 40,000 Nigerians that were seeing the United States would never, quote unquote, in Donald Trump's words, never go back to their mud huts. In fact, 57% of the US population is in agreement that Donald Trump is racist. Boris Johnson references Pickaninny smiles. If you are a black person in this country, you are 40% more likely to be stopped by the police. Donald Trump is here and he's not an alien. let us never forget that his servility to Benjamin Netanyahu and the state of Israel in the moving of the embassy to Jerusalem is bad, yes. But in this country, over the last year, we sold £230 million worth of arms components to the state of Israel. That is up 256% from the year before, including components for sniper rifles that were used to shoot unarmed people, people with press written across their chest, and clear medics. Donald Trump is here, and he's not an alien. He seems to be fond of talking about people, grabbing people by their genitalia. Well, let me tell you something. Today, we have grabbed that miserable, despicable man by the scruff of the neck and thrown him back to Washington where he belongs. Donald Trump may be here, and he's not an alien, but let me tell you something. People only have the 8-hour day in the United States because of mobilizing even less than 1% of the society. People only have the right to vote that don't own property in this country through a 300-year struggle led partly by William Cuffey, a black man. We have these rights because people mobilized, collectivized, and struggled for them. And at the end of the day, it's scumbags like Donald Trump that knows deep down that people power collectively is far more powerful than him and all of his tanks. Thank you very much.